Imagine this for a moment. A figure who, well, never wrote a book, never commanded an army, certainly never ruled a kingdom. Yet somehow he profoundly shaped empires, inspired billions, and literally, divided history itself into before and after he arrived.
It's quite a premise when you put it like that.
It really is. Who was Jesus Christ? Was he a prophet, a revolutionary, the Son of God, as Christians believe, or maybe something even more profound?
Questions.
Huge questions. And that's what this deep dive is about. We're aiming to unpack some of the historical and maybe existential questions around arguably the most influential figure ever.
Right.
Our mission here really is to explore his historical existence. Did he actually walk the earth? And then look at the really radical claims he made about himself.
Claims that caused quite a stir.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're digging into the source material we've gathered to pull out the key nuggets for you. The idea is to give you a shortcut, a way to get deeply well-informed on this pivotal figure.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
Well, before we even get to the really radical statements Jesus made, let's tackle that foundational question. It still sparks debate, surprisingly. Did he even exist?
Yes. The existence question.
Because, while the Gospels are obviously foundational for Christians, some skeptics might wonder, okay, but outside of those texts, is there real historical proof?
Right. And what's actually fascinating here, maybe a bit of an aha moment for some listeners, is that the historical consensus is, well, it's pretty overwhelming.
Oh.
Yeah. Across the board, Christian and secular historians agree. Jesus definitely existed.
So it's not really a debate among historians.
Not in the mainstream, no. The insight isn't just that they mention him, but it's why these independent, sometimes quite unsympathetic accounts lend so much weight.
Okay, like what? Give us an example.
Well, take the Roman historian Tacitus. He wasn't exactly a fan of early Christians, quite critical, actually.
Right.
But he recounts Christ's execution under Pontius Pilate. He mentions it as a historical event.
Huh. Okay, so a Roman source confirms the execution.
Exactly. And then there's the Jewish historian Josephus. In his extensive writings, he confirms key details about Jesus, his followers, even his brother James.
Wow. So these aren't people trying to promote Christianity.
Not at all. They're external observers, sometimes hostile, providing what amount to undeniable historical footprints.
So, okay, we're not just talking about faith here. There's a solid historical backbone. But are there specific details from these, non-Christian accounts that match up with the Gospels or maybe challenge them?
That's a great question. What's really consistent across both Christian and these non-Christian historical accounts are the sort of basic biographical facts.
Like what?
Well, that he was born in Bethlehem, grew up in Nazareth. He emerged as a preacher, a teacher, around age 30.
Okay.
He gathered a group of close followers, disciples. He was widely known for doing things people called miracles, whether you believe them or not. The reports were there.
Right, the reputation.
The reputation, exactly. He consistently challenged the religious authorities of his day, which got him into trouble. And crucially, he was executed by crucifixion under the Roman governor Pontius Pilate.
And that last part, the crucifixion under Pilate, that's particularly strong.
It's very well attested. Multiple independent sources mention it. It really highlights that he wasn't some obscure figure. He had a significant public presence, enough to warrant Roman intervention.
Right, but it's fascinating, isn't it? The historical accounts don't just stop with his death.
No, they don't.
And this is where the story really takes a sharp turn from, say, any other historical figure who was executed.
Absolutely.
Because his story, as our sources show, was, well, it was far from over. And his message, it went way beyond just, be nice to each other.
Much further.
He made these incredibly radical claims about himself, claims that, frankly, still echo today and kind of demand a response, don't they?
They absolutely do. And that raises the question, if his claims were so profound, what were they exactly?
Yeah, what did he actually say?
Well, the sources highlight some truly powerful statements. He didn't just suggest being good. He flat out declared, I am the way, the truth, and the life.
Which sounds profound even now, but back then...
Back then, especially in a Jewish context, that wasn't just like a philosophical idea. It was a direct claim to be the only way to God. It basically bypassed the entire temple system, the established religious structure.
Oh, okay. That's bold.
Extremely bold. And maybe even more astonishing was when he said, before Abraham was, I am.
Before Abraham was, I am. What's the significance there?
It wasn't just saying he was older than Abraham, the father of the Jewish faith.
Yeah.
In the Hebrew scriptures, I am is the divine name. It's the name God reveals to Moses at the burning bush.
Ah, right. The sacred name.
Exactly. So for his first-century Jewish audience, hearing him use that phrase about himself, it was an implicit but totally unmistakable claim to be divine.
So he was essentially claiming to be God.
That's how many understood it. It was a concept so radical, so controversial, that it frequently led to accusations of blasphemy, capital offenses.
Okay, those are incredibly bold statements, but couldn't someone listening today, maybe someone less familiar with that ancient context, argue they were just, metaphors? Or maybe the words of someone charismatic, but, well, maybe delusional.
That's a really critical point to consider. How should we interpret those?
Yeah.
What the sources show, though, is that his contemporaries didn't seem to take them metaphorically.
Oh, how do they react?
Well, they basically had two reactions. They either worshipped him, believing he was who he said he was, or they actively sought to execute him for blasphemy.
Wow. No middle ground.
Very little middle ground of, oh, he's just a nice teacher with some interesting ideas. His claims forced a choice. And that really brings us to this profound dilemma, doesn't it? If Jesus really said these things, and the sources strongly suggest he did, then you're left with some stark options.
Like what?
Was he a brilliant man, but tragically delusional? A madman sincerely believing he was God? Or was he a liar? A charlatan, knowingly deceiving people for some kind of personal gain, though it's hard to see what he gained, ending up crucified?
Right.
Or the third option, which billions throughout history have concluded, was he exactly who he claimed to be? God in human flesh.
Madman, liar, or Lord. That framework.
Exactly. It's very hard to find a comfortable middle ground, like just a good moral guide, if you actually take his own claims about himself seriously.
That definitely reframes it. It puts the weight back on his own words. Okay, so moving beyond the historical facts and these, frankly, staggering claims, let's talk about his impact, his legacy. How has this figure reverberated through history?
Well, stepping back and looking at the big picture, the ripple effect is just immense. You see it across millennia.
In what ways?
His core message, things like compassion, justice, the inherent value of every single individual, even the lowest in society that fundamentally shaped the development of Western law.
Really? Law?
Absolutely. And the rise of charitable organizations, hospitals, orphanages, the very concept of human rights owes a huge debt to the value system he introduced.
That emphasis on caring for the poor, the sick, the outcast, that wasn't standard back then.
Not universally, no. Not with the same emphasis. His parables, his moral teachings, they've inspired countless works of art, literature, music, for centuries.
Right. You see it everywhere in culture.
Everywhere. Even many scientific institutions, universities.
Okay.
They were often founded or sponsored by people deeply influenced by Christian thought, by his teachings. It's clear his influence just permeates our cultural fabric far beyond just religious circles.
And it's not just, dusty history books either. The resonance is felt today, isn't it?
Very much so.
Millions of people right now claim that Jesus changed their lives, personally, deeply, even in our very modern, often secular world.
That personal transformative claim is a huge part of the ongoing story.
Which pushes us to consider, okay, is he just a moral guide whose ancient principles still resonate, which is impressive enough? Or, as his followers believe, is he somehow alive today in a different, more personal sense?
That's the existential question that follows from the historical one.
It really is. It leads us back to that core question. Was Jesus just a man, or was he something more?
A question everyone has to grapple with eventually, perhaps.
And ultimately, the sources lead us to ask you, the listener. So, what will you do with Jesus?
A challenging thought to end on.
Definitely. And look, this deep dive, it's really just the beginning, isn't it? We've only scratched the surface of understanding the layers here.
There's so much more in the source material.
Absolutely. We could do whole deep dives just on things like the radical teachings of Jesus. I mean, love your enemies, turn the other cheek. What did that even mean?
Or the miracles of Jesus, fact or fiction. How do we approach those accounts?
Right. And the crucifixion, why did Jesus have to die, according to the theology? And of course, the resurrection, the event that changed everything.
That's the bedrock claim, really.
It is. So much more to explore. We really hope you'll join us for those future deep dives as we continue to unpack this